Brother, she told me if I recorded it, she'd get it in the computer somewhere. I got some that wanted to hear the message, they still want you to record it, I guess. Didn't you know I'm all over the world now? Yeah. You ever seen my shirt? It says banned in 53 countries. I think they're talking about me. Amen. I do need to make just a couple of quick announcements, if that's okay. Don't forget Wednesday night, our Valentine's banquet. Also, let's not forget you ladies that are here, women. Let's not be forgetting about on the 2nd and 3rd about the Women's E-Conference. This is the one with Matt Mayer. No, I think she said Matt Mayer wasn't coming. It was a different one. Who'd she tell me it was like a better one? It's a Friday, Saturday. I figured you all leave first thing that morning. Yeah. And the women of the church that want to go, if you can't afford to, we've already bought 10 slots. But we will make sure that you're on there. If any of them can't go, we'll make sure that you get to go. And don't not go because you can't afford to go. Because we want you to be blessed. I don't think she has yet, but we will. As soon as we know, if you will let Sister, I know Sister Felicia, she's not here tonight, but maybe Wednesday night or Sunday, next Sunday, if you guys that are going to go, if you will let her know, I hope you two ladies are able to go. You will be blessed. There's going to be some really good speakers. One of the ones from Duck Dynasty, that's Sadie Robertson, and then there's going to be some really good singing. But it's going to be a great time for the women, just for fellowship and for ministry, and I think y'all will be blessed, blessed, blessed. Come back. I tell you what, I won't have to preach for 2 months because all the ladies will be preaching every service. I feel it. Yeah, God's going to do something great in it. Amen? Brother, am I up too loud? Am I kind of loud? I feel like I'm loud. Okay, they said I'm not. I've kind of got a ringing going on in my head today. I think is what's going on. I'd like to talk to you tonight about working it out. Working it out. That's what I titled the message, working it out. I know it's a crazy message, a crazy topic. We don't have somebody to, I'm sorry, we never did get that thing to pop up, did we? Easy worship. Our computer people, our regular computer people are not here tonight, so me and Brother Anthony, we just kind of stumble through stuff, so we didn't quite get it. But I'd like to read you some scriptures out of the book of Psalms. And you've got your Bible. First one will be Psalms 34:18. Psalms chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalms 51:17, it says this: the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit. A broken and contrite heart, O God, will not despise. Did you hear that? Psalms 147:3, it says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. In case you didn't know, tonight I was going to talk to those with broken hearts. You know, I know many times that I've noticed, Brother Jared, that I go to church, and a lot of the people that I go to church with, and a lot of the people that I call that are my friends and my brothers and my sisters, they're broken. And you know, I could say that they're broken at 50. I could say they're broken at 15. I don't know what's going on in Matt's heart. I don't know what's going on in Dakota's life. I don't know what's going on in Brother Jaden's heart. I don't know what's going on in his life. I do know some things. To be honest with you, you won't believe this, but I'm actually a pretty good listener. And I've heard stories from different ones in the church just talking about maybe parents or the lack of parents, things going on in their lives that would make a grown man broken. You see what I'm saying? And I think sometimes, Sister Sonia, we think just because we're adults or we're big or tough that we don't get broken. But the fact is, everybody at one time or another gets brokenhearted. They feel their spirit is just broken. Sister Alicia, when that thing happens and when it comes upon us, it's kind of hard to, it's just hard to get by day. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? It's hard to just survive. And I thought about this brokenness because I had, the other day we had a service on Sunday morning. We had quite a few here. And Sister Tiffany came up here and she was up here and she was praising God and worshiping God. And she said that she felt like we needed to have a discussion about brokenness. And she felt like there was a lot of people that were like her, that were just broken in their spirit. And I think sometimes we don't even realize, we got an old saying in my line of work, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just, leave well alone. There's enough stuff, I got to fix stuff every day of the week. I mean, everything I own seems like something's either, and this brother don't want to hear this, either getting a flat tire, a track's breaking, motor's messed up, something's always breaking. My guys are just losing tools or breaking tools, and it's just like, So when it comes to my life, Brother Jared, if it ain't broken, we'd like to just say don't fix it. But can I tell you something? I have found out in my own walk with God, brokenness just doesn't go away on its own. When you feel broken in spirit, when you feel hurt inside, it just doesn't go away on its own. And I wondered to myself, and I wrote some things down. The world says when you have a problem, you need to work it out. Me and Brother Jerry got a problem, we need to work it out. We're just, we got to work this out. You got to get through it. And it's so easy to say that with, let's say, Sister Morgan and Sister Zoe got a problem. You guys need to work it out. You need to talk about it. You need to get this fixed. That's easy, right? As adults, we're all the time telling these kids, hey, you need to work this out. You need to get this straightened out. But when it's turned to us, and it's dealing with our brokenness, and I can almost hear God saying, you got to work it out. And I thought to this, and I'll tell you what it was. I read this, and I thought to myself, and I'll tell you what happened is when I first thought about this brokenness, I thought to myself, I really, at first I just was like, who in the Bible was broken? I know people had problems, they had things, but where they were just broken in spirit. And the truth is, I just read you 3 scriptures from Psalms. Does anybody know who wrote Psalms or who they believe wrote most of Psalms? Brother David. I know everybody's like, David? Man, he was chosen. He was perfect. He was a man after God's own heart. He was king. He was this little kid that became king. He whipped Goliath. Man, what's David's problem? Why is he one? Well, let me see. Brother Juan, I think what was wrong with Brother David was that he made some bad decisions. Anybody else got a hand they can put up on those situations? Some of us do stupid stuff sometimes. We're not perfect. David was not perfect. He was king when he made his mistakes. Has anybody ever been up here when we're singing a song and the guy known as the pastor here, you know him, Ken Harris, he'll be singing and he's like, really loud. It's just the way I am. I just sing like I'm a big mouth. But when I make a mistake, everybody knows it. Matter of fact, Sister Moore, I see these two laughing at me. Yeah, Sister Moore and Sister Summer, I think the other day were standing right up here and they kind of heard me really blow it on one, and it was like the whole church heard it. When I make a mistake, you know what? Everybody's sitting there going, well, David made it when he was king. Guess what? Everybody got to find out about David's mistakes. Brother Lynn, it's bad enough he had to live with that mistake, but it had to get wrote down in the Bible too. How'd y'all like that? For all eternity it's going to be wrote down. David's mistake was not just, it was worse than putting it on the news. This doesn't, you know what, Sister Son? This doesn't get forgotten after the news cycle. It's always there. Every time somebody gets up, every time somebody reads the Bible for the first time or the 100th time. Oh man, David committed adultery? David caused a man to be killed? David knew about brokenness, and I'll tell you why. He made some stupid mistakes, Brother Dakota. God called him on it. And Sister Julian, not only did he make a mistake, but then he lost some children over that very mistake. I'm serious. God said, listen, You're going to be punished for this. David had to live with that. That's a lot to hold. Do you think that'd be a lot to carry around? Knowing that your son died because of your stupidity? I don't know about you, but I don't know if I could walk. I think it just crushed me. David knew about brokenness. But I want you to see something here. I looked up and I found 3 people in the Bible besides Brother David that had broken hearts and had a broken spirit. And I want you to keep the title of this message in your heart and in your mind. Work it out. You got to work it out. I didn't have them wrote down, but I'll tell you the truth. You know what, I'm going to go there. It get me all teary-eyed. The first one I put down was Sister Mary Magdalene. Does anybody know who Sister Mary Magdalene was in the Bible? I'm not going to look these up right now. You're welcome to look them up. In the book of Luke, it talks about her in 2 different spots. One of them I am going to look up, but one of them, it makes mention of her, and it says that Mary Magdalene, whom 7 evil demon spirits was cast out. That's how she's known. Okay? When they mention her name in chapter 8, verses 1 through 3, they say, Mary, which is Magdalene, whom 7 evil spirits were cast out of. She's the chick that was possessed. That's what everybody would say when they look at her. I want you to read this. In the book of Luke, chapter 7. Book of Luke, chapter 7. Have to give me just a second to get there with you. I'm going to be reading from verses 38 and 39. As she stood behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. When the Pharisees who had invited him saw this, he said to him, if this man were a prophet, he would know who it is touching him. Listen to this. He would know who it is that's touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. How many of y'all have to live life kind of like I had to for a long time? Y'all don't know it, but Pastor used to be kind of a mess when I was a younger man. And I'd go through town, and I know people were like, there's that Ken Harris, he's such a punk, troublemaker. You know, I had a teacher in school, I didn't even have a class in her. I didn't ever have even a class with her, Brother Warren. But she hated me. And I'm not like some of you guys saying, that teacher hates me. I mean, she told her class one time she didn't like me at all. And I was like, what have I ever done to you? I asked her one time. You're just a troublemaker. I never was even in her class. And she didn't like me. This Pharisee had never even met Mary Magdalene. Yet, what did he say about her? If Jesus knew what kind of woman this was, she wouldn't even be able to touch his. He would be smart enough to know, why is he letting her touch him, kiss him, cry on him, washing his feet with her hair? His own disciples said, man, you know what? You could have took that perfume and bought a lot of food with that. You just wasted that perfume on his feet.
Pastor Ken, that's the lesson that my class studied last week.
Oh yeah? Well, then they should be knowing all the answers. Listen.
No, I don't know how many of them are here. I don't know that any of them, but that's the lesson that we studied, and you know, explaining the importance of how rare perfume was back then.
It was like gold. It was a lot of money. It took a lot of money. She saved up probably most of her life to buy that perfume. But the point is, I want you to hear this. This woman knew what it meant to be broken. How many of y'all believe Sister Mary Magdalene knew what it meant to have a broken spirit? I don't believe she was sitting there crying at his feet. I believe it was because she knew who it was. I know she knows who Jesus was. I'm sure she was crying because he forgave her. But I also have a feeling that what she was crying about was maybe the fact of who she was to the world. But to him, she wasn't. I think that Sister Mary Magdalene, after having been possessed, after being, I think in other parts of the Bible you'll find out that they called her a prostitute. She'd had a rough life. A street woman, you might call her. But I want you to see something here. She learned how to work it out. And I'm going to show you something here. And I know I'm sitting there, I'm harping on this, but I want you to catch something here. There is a way to get past brokenness. And I'm not just, you know what, brother? There's no magic pill. I wish there was. My wife can stand up and testify that when my grandkids were taken away from me, I was a broken man. I've never been like that state in my life. I asked Jesus to take me from this earth. I wanted to die almost every day. I couldn't stand to be in my own house because it had pictures of my kids. I couldn't go outside because we had playground stuff for my grandkids. My whole life was wrapped up around my kids. She'd look at me sometimes. As a matter of fact, that little woman back there, every once in a while, she'd get kind of mad at me and she'd go, "You've got to stop this. You got to quit crying all the time. You got to quit being broken." And what did I tell you, babe? I said I would if I knew how. I don't know how to do it. I can't stop. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop the brokenness, Sister Sonia. It was there and I could not. I don't know about you, but depression is a real thing. And I tell you what, I jumped out there and took on 5 and 6, 7 guys before, but I couldn't handle depression with 10 people. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what to do. Brokenness is a real problem. They don't make a pill we can buy, Brother Jerry. They don't got magic words that somebody can come and spray something on us or say something to us and, "Oh, I'm fixed, I'm cured, I'm all well." I wish I could. You want to hear the sad part about this, Brother Ethan? I was a minister. I was actually the pastor of this church when all this was going on. And I still couldn't stop it. I was preaching. I was trying to do what God wanted me to do. And the fact is, that's where the help came from. And I want to show you that in these next two people. How many of y'all have ever heard of Peter? Peter, one of the disciples. Do you know, Brother Dakota, that right in front of Jesus' face, when Jesus is in his darkest moment, he's been captured, he's being slapped around, he's being questioned. And Jesus knew what was going to happen. He even told Peter, he said, "Man, you're going to deny me 3 times. You're going to deny me 3 times before the cock crows." Peter's like, "Not me, man." You know what's extra hard? Is when you're supposed to be the tough guy and you can't pull it together. Brother Peter was supposed to be, "I'm the rock. Jesus said so." He said, "Upon this church, I'm going to build upon this rock, I'm going to build my church." Peter was ready to go to fight. He was the guy that smoked the ear off him when the guy came to get him. Peter was a tough one in there. He's like, "No, ain't nothing." Matter of fact, he told Jesus, "I will never betray you. Never." And then right in Jesus' face, Peter does it 3 times. Where Jesus can see it. And I said that to say this. Peter had to live with that, didn't he? It says he left from there and went and wept bitterly. I'm sure he repented. I'm sure he was sorry he did it. But I've wondered sometimes if that isn't why when Jesus came back. And you know, after Jesus arose, after Jesus was risen from the dead, Peter still went back to fishing. Think about it. After the upper room, after seeing Jesus arose from the dead, after he sees that he really is the Son of God, it says Jesus comes to him and he's at the lake and he's out there fishing in his underwear. I'm serious. Peter, I'm sure, had to live with some brokenness. I imagine sometimes, Sister Loma, that every time he thought about Jesus, as a matter of fact, I think he went just like me and went, "I'm such a failure. I can't believe out of all the disciples, I was the one that denied him 3 times. I was the one." And what did Jesus tell Peter? He said, "Peter, if you love me, feed my sheep. Peter, if you love me, work it out. I'm trying to say to you when I'm saying work it out? I'm saying that the work of Christ is how you get past brokenness. That's how you work it out. You want to know what pulled me back from that point of depression? A point where, you know what, I know better than to take my own life. I've been in church for 30-something years. I know you can't commit suicide. I know what's going to happen there. But Sister Susan, I also knew that, you know what, God? I won't take my own life, but I sure wish you'd take mine. I don't like living here anymore. I said it many times. But I kept getting up on Sunday morning and going to church and preaching. I go Sunday night and I preach. I go Wednesday night. I do the things that I needed to do during the week. I'd still pray. I'd still read my word. The fact is that my grandchildren didn't come back to me. And then the depression stopped. God took me from that point because what I did was I realized I have something that is more important than me to do. I have something that's more important in my life with my grandchildren. Do you hear what I'm saying? Peter worked it out when he realized, and he got past that brokenness. You know how? Because he realized God has called me to do something beyond myself. A lot of times, the reason we can't get out of the brokenness and we can't get over the brokenness is because it's hard not to focus on what has happened to us. Does that make sense? And the only way to get past this is to realize there is something for me to do that is beyond me. Peter finally got past the brokenness of how he betrayed Christ. And you know how? By doing the work of Christ. I don't believe it ever bothered Peter again what he had done because he was like, you know what? That was in the past. I have been forgiven of that. I have something I need to get done, and that's the work of Christ. I can prove my point. There's one other person in the Bible that to me just magnifies brokenness. It's Jesus Christ. It's Jesus Christ. Our great example. How many of y'all believe that when he went to the Garden of Gethsemane? Now I want you to think about something beyond the Garden of... Let's go back 32 years from the Garden of Gethsemane. Every day that Jesus walked this earth, he knew what was coming. Y'all believe that? He prophesied about it all the time. It was foretold all the way back at the beginning of the Bible. It was foretold what he was going to have to do. That he was going to have to come. He was going to have to suffer. He was going to have the weight of all the sin of the world put on him. Him, the Son of God. I believe many times that Jesus walked this earth feeling the brokenness. It says he was all God, right? But it also said he was a man as we are. Brother Jared, I believe he felt broken.